Hey friends, please subscribe. 1 second for you, big deal for me. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm 32 years old, and 3 years ago, my sister stole my fiancé on my wedding day. Not after the wedding, not during the reception. On my wedding day, while I was in my dress, 30 minutes before I was supposed to walk down the aisle, I found them together in a locked room at the venue. My sister, my fiancé, the two people I trusted most in the world. What I did next destroyed her perfect life, but when she found out why I did it, she finally understood what she'd taken from me. Stay until the end to see how this unfolded. And if you love stories about justice and karma, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me what you would have done in my place. Let me take you back to the beginning. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, in a house that looked perfect from the outside. My parents owned a small accounting firm. We lived in a nice neighborhood. We went on vacations every summer. But inside our house, there was always a competition. Between me and my younger sister, Melissa. Melissa was 2 years younger than me, and from the day she was born, she wanted everything I had. When I got a bike, she cried until she got the same one. When I made the cheerleading team, she tried out the next year and made captain. When I got into college, she applied to the same school. My parents thought it was cute. "She looks up to you," my mom would say. "She admires her big sister." But it wasn't admiration. It was obsession. Still, I loved her. She was my sister, my best friend, the person I told everything to. When I was 26, I met David Chen at a mutual friend's birthday party. He was handsome, funny, and kind. He worked as a marketing director at a tech company. He loved hiking, cooking, and old movies. We started dating, and within 6 months, I knew he was the one. David was patient. He listened. He made me feel seen in a way no one ever had before. After 2 years of dating, he proposed. It was simple. Just the two of us on a beach at sunset. He got down on one knee and said, "I want to spend the rest of my life making you happy." I said yes immediately. When I told my family, everyone was excited. My parents hugged us both. My mom cried happy tears. "And Melissa?" She smiled and hugged me tight. "I'm so happy for you," she whispered in my ear. I believed her. Looking back now, I should have seen the signs. The way she always wanted to be around when David visited. The way she laughed a little too loud at his jokes. The way she asked too many questions about our relationship. But I was in love. I was planning a wedding. I didn't notice. Or maybe I didn't want to notice. Planning a wedding is supposed to be magical. For me, it became a nightmare I didn't see coming. David and I set a date for September 15th. We booked a beautiful venue overlooking the river. We hired a photographer, a florist, and a caterer. I asked Melissa to be my maid of honor. "Really?" she asked, her eyes lighting up. "Of course," I said. "You're my sister. Who else would it be?" She hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. "I promise I'll make this the best wedding ever." And she did help. She helped me pick out invitations. She came to dress fittings. She organized my bridal shower. But looking back, she was always a little too involved with the groom. She would text David directly to coordinate things. She would show up at his apartment to drop off wedding stuff when I wasn't there. One time, I walked into a room and caught them laughing together. They stopped immediately when they saw me. "What's so funny?" I asked. "Oh, nothing," Melissa said quickly. "David was just telling me about his college days." "Yeah," David added, his smile not quite reaching his eyes. "Just old stories." I felt something twist in my stomach, but I pushed it away. "They're just getting along," I told myself. "That's a good thing." A week before the wedding, my best friend Claire pulled me aside. "Sarah, I need to tell you something," she said, her voice serious. "What's wrong?" "I saw Melissa and David having coffee together yesterday at that cafe downtown." I frowned. "So? They're probably discussing wedding stuff." "Sarah," Claire hesitated. They were holding hands across the table. My heart dropped. "What?" "I'm not 100% sure, but it looked intimate. I think you should talk to them." I felt sick, but I didn't want to believe it. "Claire, you must have misunderstood. Melissa is my sister. David loves me. They wouldn't. I'm just telling you what I saw, Claire said gently. Please, just be careful. I didn't confront them. I convinced myself Claire was wrong. Maybe they were just close. Maybe it looked different than it was. I didn't want to start drama right before my wedding. That decision would haunt me. September 15th arrived. The sky was clear and blue. The venue looked like something out of a fairy tale. White flowers everywhere, soft music playing. I woke up that morning feeling nervous but excited. This was it. The day I'd been planning for months. I was getting married to the love of my life. My bridesmaids arrived at the venue early. We had a suite upstairs where we could get ready. My makeup artist did my face. My hairstylist curled my hair into soft waves. I stepped into my wedding dress, a beautiful lace gown that I'd spent months searching for. When I looked in the mirror, I felt like a princess. My mom cried when she saw me. "You look perfect, sweetheart." Everything was going exactly as planned. The ceremony was supposed to start at 4 p.m. At 3:30, guests started arriving. The music began playing softly. The flowers were perfect. At 3:45, I started feeling nervous. "Where's Melissa?" I asked my mom. "I don't know, honey. Maybe she's checking on something downstairs." "Can someone find her? I need her to hold my bouquet." My bridesmaid, Rachel, went to look for her. 10 minutes passed. Rachel didn't come back. "That's weird," I said, checking my phone. No messages from Melissa. At 3:55, I started to panic. "Mom, where is she? The ceremony starts in 5 minutes." My mom tried calling Melissa. No answer. I tried calling David. No answer. A cold feeling settled in my stomach. Claire came running into the room, her face pale. "Sarah, you need to come with me, right now." "What? Why? The ceremony is about to—" "Now," she said firmly, grabbing my arm. She pulled me out of the bridal suite and down a hallway. We stopped in front of a storage room. The door was closed, but I could hear voices inside. Melissa's voice. And David's voice. My hand shook as I reached for the doorknob. It was locked. Claire knocked hard. "Open the door." Silence. Then shuffling sounds. "I said, open the door!" Claire shouted. Finally, the lock clicked. The door opened slowly. And there they were. Melissa, my sister, my maid of honor. In her bridesmaid dress, her hair messy, her lipstick smudged. And David, my fiancé, the man I was supposed to marry in 5 minutes, his tie undone, his shirt wrinkled. The look on their faces told me everything. Guilt, panic, and something else. Relief. "Sarah," Melissa started. I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe. I just stood there in my wedding dress, staring at them. "It's not what it looks like," David said, his voice shaking. I finally found my voice. "What is it then?" Neither of them answered. "How long?" I whispered. Melissa looked down at her feet. "Sarah, I'm sorry." "How long?" I screamed. The hallway went quiet. Guests downstairs probably heard me. David stepped forward. 6 months. 6 months. Half a year. While I was planning our wedding, while I was picking out flowers and tasting cakes and imagining our future, they had been together. My sister and my fiancé. I felt my legs give out. Claire caught me before I fell. "I'm sorry," Melissa whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't mean for this to happen. We tried to stop, but But you what?" I said, my voice cold now. "You fell in love?" She nodded, crying harder. I looked at David. "Say something." He opened his mouth, then closed it. Then finally, "I can't marry you, Sarah. I'm in love with her." Those words shattered me into a million pieces. The man I loved, the man I was about to marry, was in love with my sister. I turned and walked away. Behind me, I heard Melissa calling my name. But I didn't stop. I walked past my bridesmaids, past my mother, past everyone. I walked down the stairs, through the venue, past the confused guests sitting in their chairs waiting for a ceremony that would never happen. I walked outside, still in my wedding dress, and I kept walking. I didn't stop until I reached the river. I stood there, staring at the water, feeling absolutely nothing. And then I felt something else. Not sadness, not heartbreak, rage. I didn't go home that night. I couldn't face anyone, couldn't answer the calls flooding my phone, couldn't look at the pitying faces. I checked into a hotel downtown, still in my wedding dress. The woman at the front desk took one look at me and didn't ask questions. "Room 304, she said quietly, handing me a key. "There's a robe in the closet." In that hotel room, I finally let myself break down. I cried for hours, the kind of crying that makes your chest hurt and your eyes swell. I cried for the relationship I'd lost, the sister I thought I knew, the future I'd imagined. But somewhere around 3 a.m., the crying stopped, and the anger took over. They had humiliated me, betrayed me, destroyed everything, and I was just supposed to. What? Move on? Forgive them? Pretend it never happened? No. I opened my laptop and started searching. First, I looked up my wedding vendors: photographer, caterer, florist, DJ. Every single one had a no-refund policy. I had spent $45,000 on that wedding, every penny of my savings, and they got nothing. Then I opened my bank account. David and I had a joint savings account where we'd been putting money for our honeymoon and future apartment. $32,000. I transferred every dollar to my personal account. It was my money too, and I was taking it. Next, I opened social media. My phone was still blowing up with messages. Friends asking what happened, family members confused, guests wanting answers. I could have stayed silent, could have let them wonder, but I didn't want to protect Melissa and David anymore. I posted a single photo, me in my wedding dress, sitting on the floor of that hotel room, mascara running down my face. The caption read, "When your sister and your fiancé fall in love on your wedding day. No ceremony today, but thank you to everyone who came. The open bar is still available until 6 p.m. Enjoy." I hit post and turned off my phone. The next morning, I woke up to 847 notifications. My post had gone viral, not just among my friends, everywhere. It had been shared thousands of times. News outlets were picking it up. People were calling it the most devastating wedding post ever. Comments flooded in. "I'm so sorry this happened to you. Your sister is trash. Sue them both. You deserve so much better." But the comment that caught my attention was from someone I didn't know. "Don't get sad, get even." And that's exactly what I decided to do. Over the next few days, I stayed at that hotel and made a plan. Melissa had always wanted everything I had: my life, my achievements, my relationships. Well, now she could have David. But I was going to take everything she ever dreamed of. You see, Melissa had always had one big dream: to be an influencer. She had been building her Instagram for years, posting perfect photos, trying to get brand deals, desperate for validation. She had about 15,000 followers, not huge, but growing. And her whole brand was about sisterly love and family values. Her bio literally said, "Spreading positivity with my amazing big sis. Family is everything." She had dozens of posts with me, smiling, hugging, looking like the perfect sisters. That image? I was about to destroy it. I also knew something else about Melissa. She had been applying to be a lifestyle blogger for a major wellness company called Pure Light. It was her dream job. She'd mentioned it 100 times. The company valued authenticity and integrity. They were supposed to make their final decision this month. I opened my laptop and started typing. What I did next would change both of our lives forever. First, I dealt with social media. I went through every photo Melissa had ever posted with me, every sister goals caption, every fake smile, and I commented on each one. On a photo of us at Christmas, "This was 3 weeks before you started sleeping with my fiancé." On a post about family first, interesting values from someone who betrayed her sister on her wedding day. On a picture of her holding my hand, "You held my hand while planning to steal my life." I didn't tag her. I just commented. But my followers saw and they started sharing. Within hours, Melissa's comments were flooded. "You're disgusting. How could you do that to your sister? Unfollow this fake." She started losing followers. Fast. 15,000 became 14,000. Then 13,000. Then 12,000. Her perfect influencer image was crumbling. But I wasn't done. Next, I contacted Pure Light. I didn't lie. I didn't exaggerate. I just told them the truth. I explained that Melissa had applied to be their brand ambassador, and I explained what she'd done. "I'm not trying to ruin her life," I wrote in my email, "but I think you should know who you're considering hiring. Your company values integrity. Does she represent that?" 3 days later, Melissa called me. I didn't answer. She texted, "Sarah, please." Pure Light rescinded their offer. They said someone contacted them with concerns about my character. "Was that you?" I didn't respond. She called again. And again. Finally, I answered. "What do you want, Melissa?" "You ruined my career," she screamed. "They were going to pay me $80,000 a year, and you destroyed it." I told them the truth, I said calmly. "That's all." "You're being vindictive and cruel." "Cruel?" I laughed bitterly. "You stole my fiancé on my wedding day. You humiliated me in front of everyone I know. And I'm the cruel one?" I said I was sorry. "Sorry doesn't fix what you broke, Melissa." "So what, you're just going to keep punishing me forever?" "No," I said. "I'm just taking back what you tried to steal." "What are you talking about?" "You've always wanted my life, my success, my happiness. Well, now you have, David. Congratulations. But everything else, I'm keeping it." I hung up. But the truth is, I wasn't done yet. Because I had one more move to make, and this one would hit her where it really hurt. 2 months after the wedding that never happened, I did something I should have done years ago. I focused on myself. I threw myself into my career. I was a marketing consultant, and I'd always been good at my job, but I'd never really pushed myself. Now, I had nothing to lose. I started taking on bigger clients. I worked 12-hour days. I built my portfolio. Within 3 months, I landed a contract with a major tech company worth $250,000. I moved out of my apartment, the one I'd shared with David, and bought my own condo overlooking the city. It was smaller than what I'd planned, but it was mine, completely mine. I started going to therapy, working through the betrayal, learning to trust again. And slowly, I started to heal. But I never forgot what they'd taken from me. 6 months after the failed wedding, I got a call from my mom. "Sarah, we need to talk about Melissa." I hadn't spoken to my parents much since the wedding. They'd tried to stay neutral, which felt like choosing her side. "What about her?" I asked coldly. "She's struggling. She and David broke up." I felt a small flicker of satisfaction. "Oh?" She said it wasn't working, that he wasn't who she thought he was. Of course he wasn't, because David wasn't in love with her. He was in love with the idea of something new, something forbidden. Once the thrill was gone, there was nothing left. "She's depressed," my mom continued. "She lost her job opportunity. Her followers dropped to 4,000. She's asking about you." "What about me?" "She wants to apologize, properly. She wants to see you." I thought about it. Then I said something that surprised even me. "Okay, I'll meet her." A week later, Melissa and I met at a coffee shop. She looked different, thinner, tired. Her hair wasn't styled. Her clothes were plain. She looked like someone who'd lost everything. We sat down across from each other. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then she said, "I'm sorry." "I know." "No, you don't." She looked up, her eyes red. "I don't just mean I'm sorry for what I did. I mean I'm sorry for who I was." I stayed quiet, letting her talk. "My whole life, I was jealous of you," she continued. "You were smarter, more successful, more confident, and I hated it. I hated that you had everything I wanted. So you took David." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I thought if I took him, I'd finally have something you didn't. I thought I'd finally be happy. Were you? She shook her head. No, because he wasn't mine. Not really. He was always comparing me to you, always talking about you. And I realized I didn't want David. I wanted to be you. I felt something shift inside me. Not forgiveness, not yet, but understanding. Melissa, you can't live your life competing with me. You have to find your own path. I know, she whispered. I'm trying. I started therapy. I'm working on myself. Good. Do you think, she hesitated, do you think we can ever be sisters again? I thought about it carefully. Maybe, I said, but not right now. You broke my trust. That takes time to rebuild. She nodded. I understand. But Melissa? I looked at her directly. If you ever try to take something from me again, I won't just take it back. I'll make sure you lose everything. Do you understand? She nodded quickly. I understand. We finished our coffee in silence. As I walked out of that cafe, I realized something important. Revenge didn't make me feel better. Success did. Taking back control of my life did. Choosing myself did. 1 year after the wedding that never happened, I met someone new. His name was James. He was an architect, kind, funny, and completely different from David. James knew my story. I told him everything on our third date. That's awful, he said. I'm sorry you went through that. It's okay, I said, and I meant it. It taught me what I deserve. And what's that? Someone who chooses me, every single day, no question. He smiled. I can do that. And he did. We dated for 2 years, slow and steady, building trust, building a real relationship. When he proposed, it was simple. Just the two of us on a hiking trail we loved. I don't want a big wedding, I told him. I want something small. Just us and the people who matter. Whatever you want, he said. We got married at a courthouse with 10 people present. My parents, my best friend Claire, James's family. Melissa wasn't invited. It wasn't revenge, it was protection. I'd forgiven her, but I hadn't forgotten. And I needed to keep my happiness safe. After the ceremony, we had dinner at a small restaurant. No fancy venue, no drama, just love. It was perfect. That night, I posted a single photo on Instagram, me and James, smiling, with the caption, "Second chances are real, so is happiness. Choose people who choose you. Always." The post got thousands of likes and comments. But the comment that mattered most was from Melissa. "You look beautiful. I'm happy for you. Really?" I didn't respond, but I smiled. Because I was happy. Genuinely, completely happy. And that was the best revenge of all. So let me ask you something. If your sister betrayed you on your wedding day, would you forgive her? Would you take revenge, or would you just walk away? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if this story touched your heart, smash that like button and subscribe, because living your truth and protecting your peace is the most powerful thing you can do. Remember, family isn't just blood. It's loyalty. It's respect. It's showing up when it matters. And sometimes, the best thing you can do is choose yourself. Thank you for watching. See you in the next story.